before you report me to anybody, hear me out, because what I am about to say is not an insult. It is not disrespectful. It is not an attack on your family. It is the truth that nobody in the health and wellness space has had the courage to say out loud. Your poor health, your weight struggles, your low energy, your complicated relationship with your own body did not start with you. It started in your living room. It started in your kitchen. It started at your dining table. It started the day your parents taught you everything about life, except how to live inside your body. And today, we are going to talk about that. Let me ask you something. The first time you heard the words balanced diet, where were you? I will tell you where most of us were. We were sitting in a primary school classroom, sweating, copying notes from a chalkboard, learning about carbohydrates, proteins, and vitamins, the same way we learned the capital of Zambia, as information to pass an exam, not as knowledge to save our lives. Now here is the question that should disturb you. Why did you first hear about balanced diet from a teacher and not from the person who fed you every single day? The person who woke up at 5 a.m. to make your breakfast. The person who knew exactly how you liked your elba, soft or hard. The person who could make a goosey soup that would make you forget your own name. That person taught you everything about how to make food taste good. But did they teach you what that food was doing inside your body? Did they tell you that the ugu in your soup was building your immune system? Did they explain that the crayfish was giving you calcium for your bones? Did they sit you down and say, my child, we are not just cooking food. We are building a body. For most of us, the answer is no. And that's silence. That gap between the kitchen and the knowledge is where your health problems began. Now let us talk about Grandpa. Grandpa, who smelled like camphor and always had something in his pocket for you. You know what I am talking about. The candy, the baba doodoo, the cotton candy, the puff puff wrapped in old newspaper. Grandpa loved you. Let nobody tell you otherwise. Grandpa loved you with everything he had. But Grandpa, with the best intentions in the world, was setting you up. Every time Grandpa put candy in your hand instead of a carrot. Every time Grandma gave you sugar-coated coconut instead of groundnut. Every time the reward for good behavior was something sweet and processed. Your taste buds were being trained. Your brain was learning that sweetness equals love, that sugar equals reward, that processed equals pleasure. And here is the science behind it. Research confirms that early childhood exposure to high sugar, high fat foods rewires the brain's reward system, making it significantly harder in adulthood to choose nutritious food over processed food. In other words, Grandpa's candy is still affecting your food choices today. Grandpa did not know. Grandma did not know. They were doing what their parents did, and their parents did what their parents did. Generation to generation to generation, passing down love wrapped in sugar, and wondering why we keep getting sicker. Now, your father who sacrificed everything for you, who worked double shifts so you could go to a good school, who checked your report card with more intensity than the EFCC checks accounts. Your father who said, if you come first in class, I will buy you a new toy car. If you pass your common entrance, I will buy you new shoes. If you get those grades, I will make sure you lack nothing. Your father motivated you. Your father invested in your future. Your father wanted the best for you. But let me ask you something. Did your father ever say, if you do 10 more push ups than you did last week, I will take you to the field on Saturday? Did he ever say, let us see who can hold a plank longer, and the winner chooses what we eat for dinner? Did he ever sit down and say, your body is as important as your brain, and we are going to train both in this house? For most of us, that conversation never happened. Academic performance was celebrated. Physical development was left to PE teachers we saw once a week, if the school even had one. Albert Bandura, one of the most cited psychologists in the history of science, gave us social learning theory, and it tells us something very simple. Children do not do what you tell them. They do what they see you do. So if your father never exercised, if your mother never spoke about her body except to criticize it, if movement in your home was never modeled, celebrated, or made to feel important, your body learned that lesson before you could even spell the word fitness. And for the women watching this, I have not forgotten you. Someone sat you down, probably your mother, your auntie, your grandmother, and taught you how to sit like a lady. Knees together, back straight, hands folded, ankles crossed. And that lesson about dignity, about appearance, about how the world would perceive you, that lesson was important. But here is what was missing from that same conversation. Nobody said, and sit-ups are important for your core. Nobody demonstrated what a strong back feels like and why it matters. Nobody connected the way you carry your body to the quality of your life 20 years from now. The same energy that went into teaching you to present yourself should have gone into teaching you to strengthen yourself. Appearance was taught. Function was forgotten. And today, millions of Nigerian women know exactly how to sit in a boardroom, but have never once been taught that their core strength, their posture muscles, their physical foundation are just as important as their outward presentation. Nobody told them, because nobody told the people who were supposed to tell them. Now here is where it gets deep, and I need you to hear this clearly, because this part changes everything. This has nothing to do with how rich or educated your family was. Nothing. I have seen it in the wealthiest homes in Victoria Island. I have seen it in the most educated families, professors, doctors, lawyers, who raise children that cannot run for 5 minutes without gasping. And I have seen it in the humblest homes in Surulere and Mushin, where parents worked from dawn to dusk and still moved, still played, still lived inside their bodies, because that was simply how life was lived. This is not a poverty problem. This is not an education problem. It is a priority problem, and it is a loss of something we never even realized we were losing. Because somewhere between chasing money, chasing certificates, chasing status, and chasing everything modernization told us to chase, we stopped passing down the one thing our bodies actually needed. Not wealth, not grades, not property, basic knowledge of how to live in a body. And that loss crossed every class, every income level, every zip code. Rich homes lost it. Poor homes lost it. Educated homes lost it. Uneducated homes lost it. Because nobody was teaching it, and nobody noticed it was gone until the lifestyle diseases arrived at the door. Now, in sports psychology, and I say this from my own training and lived experience on the mat, we talk about two forces that shape every human being: nature and nurture. Nature is what you are born with. your genetics, your natural capacity, your body's raw potential. Nurture is what your environment did with what nature gave you. A principle taught in the halls of sports science institutions tells us this. Genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. Your genes gave you a body. Your upbringing decided what that body would become. And the developmental psychologist Yuri Bronfenbrenner, whose work changed how we understand human development, told us that the family is the most powerful system shaping human behavior, more powerful than school, more powerful than government, more powerful than any institution. What happens in the home determines what happens in the body. And in most Nigerian homes, wellness was never the conversation. Movement was never modeled. Nutrition was never explained. The body was never celebrated for what it could do, only occasionally criticized for how it looked. The World Health Organization tells us that 81% of adolescents globally are insufficiently physically active, and that these habits are established in childhood, not in the gym, not in school, in the home. Think about everything you know that you never formally learned. You know how to greet an elder without anyone handing you a textbook. You know how to tie a wrapper, how to help tie a headgear, because you watched it happen 100 times. You know who gets served first at the table. You know which tone of voice means your mother is serious. You know the prayers said before eating, even if nobody sat you down and taught you the words. You learned respect at home. You learned culture at home. You learned language at home. You learned faith at home. All of these things, not because someone gave you a curriculum, but because you were surrounded by people who lived these things every single day. So why was fitness the one subject that got outsourced? Why was nutrition the one conversation that never happened at the dinner table? Why was movement the most natural human activity, the one thing that suddenly required a gym, a trainer, and an expensive program before it was considered real? Because nobody in the chain ever learned it. Your parents did not teach you because their parents did not teach them. And somewhere in that chain, the knowledge got lost. Not because anyone was malicious, not because anyone was careless, but because life got in the way, and wellness was always the last thing on the list. So here is my verdict. Your parents are guilty. Guilty of loving you without the information they needed to love you completely. Guilty of feeding you without knowing what they were building. Guilty of teaching you everything, except the one subject that determines the quality of every other subject in your life. But here is the thing about guilt. Guilt without knowledge is just a feeling. Guilt with knowledge becomes responsibility. Your parents did not have this conversation available to them. You do. You are watching this right now, which means the generational chain of wellness, ignorance can end with you. Because this was never about blame. The title got your attention, and I make no apology for that. But the message is this: you cannot change what was not taught to you, but you can change what you teach from this moment forward. To yourself, to your children, to your younger siblings, to anyone in your circle who is still waiting for someone to write the right equation on their board. The equation is simple. We just were never taught it. Knowledge plus daily decision equals whole life wellness. That is what this channel is for. Every week, we fill in what was missing. We say what was never said. We teach what was never taught. Not to shame your parents, not to shame yourself, but to break a cycle that has been running for too long in too many Nigerian homes across too many generations. If this video made you think, subscribe to this channel. If this video made you feel seen, share it with someone whose parents also forgot to teach them this. If this video made you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the beginning of your wellness journey. Comment below. Tell me one thing your parents never taught you about your body. No judgment, just truth, just us. I am your wellness therapist. This is Whole Life Wellness, and we are just getting started. All content on Whole Life Wellness is for educational and wellness awareness purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice. Please consult a qualified medical professional for any personal health concerns.